Welcome back to Mentor Nation, the podcast for entrepreneurs looking for real mentorship, real strategies, and real stories so that you can go out and build your dreams. I'm your host, John Abbas, and it's time for another episode, so buckle your seatbelt and let's go. Hey everyone, welcome back to the show. John here, and I hope all of you are having a great week. I hope everyone is staying safe and healthy as we get past some really interesting times with the coronavirus and just the devastating ripple effect that it's having on our economy and our way of life right now. I know me personally, if you're listening to this live especially, it's just chaos right now. I can't even get some of the basic essentials at the store like toilet paper and hand sanitizer and soap. It's really crazy, but I hope all of you guys are staying positive. And I just want to share something with you that my mentor told me when I was losing everything 12 years ago when the economy crashed. And this is what he said to me. He said, John, never ever forget that within every obstacle lies an opportunity. And I really believe that, because out of that devastation, I went on to build some great things. So guys, today I have the opportunity to have you hear from an incredible individual. He's one of those people that, believe it or not, actually remind me of Elon Musk in a way. And what I mean by that is, like, his thinking is just so far ahead, and he has such a grasp of trends before they happen. Gideon Shalwick is the founder of Splasheo.com. Now, he's owned many companies over the years, but his current company, Splasheo, helps thousands of entrepreneurs all over the world turn their basic videos into marketing masterpieces. Whether it's transcribing your audio into captions, putting borders that stand out around your video, or just making your video really awesome, his company can do it. Now, in today's interview, however, we talk about video and why, if you are serious, or if you're just even in business today, why you need to be making unique video content. Gideon shares some incredible insights on why companies that are doing this right are just dominating. They're making 10 times more money than companies that don't. And he just shares some amazing strategies on how you can start using video to your advantage to start making more revenue, standing out with your branding, and just positioning yourself to win. Even if you're just getting started in business, the insights that he shares can really help you rocket launch your branding and marketing. So without further ado, please help me welcome to the show, Mr. Gideon Shalwick. All right, Gideon, thank you so much for being on the Mentor Nation podcast. I am really excited about this interview, and I'm glad to have you on.
It's great to be here, John. Looking forward to the call.
Yeah, and I'm really glad that we got to have this interview. I know we were talking just a minute ago. It's been a crazy couple of days here in Nashville. Night before last, we got hit by just an insane group of tornadoes that destroyed. Thankfully, we were okay, but it destroyed a lot of the city of Nashville. And then this morning, we were so glad to hear that we got diagnosed with our first case of the coronavirus in my county, just about 2 minutes down the road. So it's been a little bit of a scary week in Tennessee.
Yep. Crazy times we're living in for sure.
Absolutely. So for those tuning in, I want to just give everybody a heads up. Today's episode is really designed to teach you everything you need to know about how to use video to build or grow an audience or a brand. And, I personally believe that video is probably the single most important way to create effective content today. But just being around a lot of entrepreneurs, especially this audience, I've noticed that, most people still don't do it, and those that do it wrong. And that's just why I'm so excited to have you on, because you're the co-founder of Splasheo, which is a company that is doing incredible things. And I cannot wait to have you share with the audience just what your company does, because I believe a lot of people need to know about it and can probably use it, including myself. But before we get into that, you've built some really incredible companies. And I just wanted to see if you wouldn't mind sharing a little bit about your journey and just how you came to be where you are now.
Yeah, sure thing. Well, the journey for me as an entrepreneur started maybe about 16 years ago, when I started thinking about my life as a working employee and started reading books like, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Think and Grow Rich. And, it kind of woke me up to this idea of, hey, I don't have to be working for someone else. And in fact, I think that was brought upon by me kind of becoming a bit unhappy about, the lot that I created for myself, going through the education system,
That's right.
Studying really hard. I did 2 degrees at university, an electronic engineering degree, which I didn't enjoy at all. And then I did a master in engineering management degree, which I enjoyed a lot more. And then I went to work in project management and business development a little bit later on. And even though I wasn't doing engineering, I was doing more the business and management side of things, I still felt really held back, right, with working in the environment of another company. And, I just thought I needed a bit of a break from that. It wasn't cut out. It wasn't what I thought it would be.
Right.
And so one day I woke up and told my wife, hey, let's quit our jobs. And we were in New Zealand at the time. And let's emigrate to Australia and start a new life, start a new business. And she was keen. So basically, long story short, I couldn't find a job to get us in. My wife found a job. So we landed in Australia. I was jobless. Well, that was perfect, right? Because I didn't actually want to have a job.
Right.
And I started looking at different businesses to start up and different business ideas. I had no idea. I mean, I just knew that I wanted to do my own thing. I just didn't know what it was. And I looked at a bunch of different things. I remember going to a franchise expo in Brisbane, Australia. And there were a bunch of really, really interesting businesses there. There was one franchise was like a dog washing franchise. And I remember looking at it and going, holy guacamole, if these guys can set up a franchise, a successful franchise for washing dogs, how difficult can business be? Surely I could start something up and be successful at it. So I thought, okay, screw this. I'm not going to do a franchise. I'm going to do my own thing. And so I ended up writing a book, an ebook, and I sold that through one of my first partners. Did really, really well for about 2 weeks.
What was the name of the book?
The name of the book, interesting enough, there's a bit of a story behind this as well. The name of the book I'm embarrassed now looking back, but it was called Millionaire Dropout Secrets. And
that's a good name.
It's a good name, right? But so I wrote it kind of like as a reporter, not as someone who was already successful, right? But as more of someone who's done research, looked at successful people, the people like Steve Jobs and Bill Gates and Larry
Ellison.
Ellison, yeah, sorry. It's been a while now. Who they all dropped out. I thought, okay, what do they have in common? So I did that research and looked at that, and then also threw in my own, research that I did in what it takes to become successful, and it kind of became like a blueprint for myself. But I remember going to a course where it taught us how to come up with a title for a book, and I remember the guy saying, like, if you've got millionaire in the book and secrets in your title, then you've got a much better chance of selling it. And so, okay, cool. Let me let me figure something out.
I love it.
But it was the wrong thing. I took it off the market shortly after that, relatively shortly. This just didn't feel right. But anyway, that was my first little product. And what it taught me was that just having a book is not a business. And I needed to learn about traffic generation, as an online business. I needed to learn about systems. I needed to learn about proper product creation. I needed to learn about
what year was this when you realized this? What year?
So I started in 2006.
Okay, so this is 2000. Okay, perfect.
Yeah, I was about 28 years old. I'm now 42. So this was about 14 years ago. Yeah.
Awesome.
So it started relatively late. I wish I could go back in time and like when I was 16, start up a business, and
that's right.
Actually drop out of school or whatever. Maybe not drop out of school, but maybe do it part-time, but do it part-time. I think there are some good things you can still learn from school for sure. And even college, it's interesting. I've had for a long time, I thought university was a total waste of time, or college, like you guys call it over there. Because 5 years gone for my life, and I could never get it back. And I regretted going to university for a long time. But looking back now, I think I did actually get a lot of benefit from it. My ability now to understand complex concepts, which is important for entrepreneurship, right? Mm-hmm. My ability for attention to detail, my ability to learn, my ability to research, my ability to communicate, even just my ability to touch type. Those were all developed during my studies. And I don't think I would have been able to develop those skills and thinking skills and analytical skills as well if I didn't actually go to university. So I think I did get a lot of benefit from it. So I don't discount it anymore.
Right.
I actually do count it as favorable. But it's a hard, you can't have a split test. You can't do no university and university at the same time, right?
That's right. Don't get two lives,
one life.
Unfortunately. Absolutely. So that led you, so you created the first product, and then what happened after? Did you just deep dive into traffic generation, teach yourself? Did you find a mentor?
Well,
what was?
I didn't have a clue. So my first, for the ebook, I had a mentor who taught me how to sell it, right? And he actually generated my first bit of traffic. He had about 10,000 people on his email database, and he promoted my book for me, which is very generous and amazing. And I remember how excited I was. The Friday night I went live with it, and he sent his email. The next morning I woke up not expecting too much, but then opening up my email was just like sale, like all these sales coming in. And wow. I was so excited and thinking, wow, this is amazing. I was just doing this in from my living room in our little apartment in central Brisbane. But then, that was kind of easy traffic. Then I didn't know how to get more traffic. I didn't know how to build relationships with more people like my mentor, Juho Tonkela, and other people like him who had big audiences. I didn't know anything about content marketing. We didn't call it that back then. I didn't know anything about SEO or paid traffic. Nothing. I had no idea. So I decided to go on a journey, and I thought, what's the best way for me to learn? So I thought, okay, well, let's go to people who they've already done it and interview them. Ask them what it was that made them successful. It was called the Psychology of Success. I don't know. It was going to be an interview series. And I interviewed all these people who are successful in my industry, and got some really great ideas from them. And I did everything on video. This is 2007, right about there. This would be, I think YouTube was only about a year old or something back then.
Wow. Podcasts weren't even really anything probably back then.
Well, this is interesting. So we had our first podcast, me and Juho, in 2006, I think, or 2007. Wow. And we were talking about Web 2, that was called Web 2.0 marketing.com. That was the name of our podcast, Web 2.0 marketing. And which is now known as social media.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Back then it was called Web 2.0. And everybody was really excited about it. So we had our podcast before podcasting became exciting. That was before the iPhone. But we gave up before it really took off. So,
right.
So unfortunately, it's such a big thing now.
You need a time machine is what you need.
Oh, good gosh. Yeah. So many times I've been just too early. It's been a recurring theme for me over the years. And I've learned from that as well. We can touch on that as well. But yeah, it's been a very interesting journey. So yeah, from those people I interviewed, but the project ended up being so big and my computer so small that the files were massive, right? The video files were massive. It ended up killing my PC. I could never actually get the actual project off the ground. I never published those interviews. I think maybe I published one or something, but it ended up being a real mess. I spent like 6 months of my life or longer on it, and didn't go anywhere. It was just technically too hard for me for my project at that stage. And, because I did everything. I did the website, I did the graphics, I did the video, I did the video editing, I did everything myself. I was too stupid to think that I could hire people. I didn't know anybody back then, and there was nobody who were experts. There were no experts around in video marketing, online video marketing, or online video production even. It was all old school sort of video production, So I had to sort of pioneer in a way and learn it myself. But so actually, from my initial success within my first 6 months, my little book, right? It was about a 2-year journey for me to just try different things. I did web development for people. I did video editing for people. I did some graphics for people while I was trying to do my own business. And so ended up making I think 11,000 in my first year and spent 12,000 or something stupid like that. Both those first 2 years of being in business, I didn't make any money. It was negative. Right. And it was really tough, because I thought, oh man, gosh, look at these franchises, like washing dogs and making money, Surely I've got 2 degrees. I can make this work,
I know. So I still think the same thing about the 1-800 dog poop that's everywhere. I'm just like, is there really money in that? They call you, and I still don't understand it, right? They call you, it's a franchise, you come out. How much do you have to charge to make that work? I wonder, but it's so funny that you thought the exact same thing, just different.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there's money to be made if there's a need, and especially if it's the kind of need that that's difficult to fulfill, or complicated or frustrating, So there's always an opportunity there then to make money. And that's what we're doing with Splasheo now. The current version of Splasheo, which is, we're captioning people's videos for them, which is an absolute pain in the neck to do. I mean, yes, there are automated solutions around, but it's still a pain, especially if you're doing bulk videos. So we take that pain away from people, and we can charge money for it. So it's fantastic.
Absolutely. And I can't wait to get into Splasheo actually, and just really in general, because obviously you're definitely ahead of your time and just your thought process, especially when it pertains to video. When I was listening to you in the podcast, I was just really blown away because, I think that, a lot of people, especially entrepreneurs, and this audience listening, it's almost all entrepreneurs. And I feel like a lot of them are behind the times. When people start companies or they're trying to build a brand, obviously, we tend to start with a website, and then we'll go on social media and we'll just make some posts, and then we'll eventually graduate to posting some pictures. And it just, to me, it seems like video is like the holy grail, or the thing that like most people resist until they're forced to do it because it's complicated. There's so many facets. I'm scared to make a video. And I really wanted to see if you could debunk some of the myths today and just share with the audience, number one, why is video so important? Number two, why they shouldn't wait to start creating video content, and then how to start doing it. And then finally, just how to be effective from day one so that they're not spinning their wheels, and kind of how your company ties into that, if you don't mind. So could you talk a little bit about like, why is video so important today? And is there any statistics that you can share that as it pertains to marketing and branding with video?
Sure. I mean, the why these days is kind of assumed, like if you're like, even when people talk about content marketing, it's not really content marketing, it's video marketing, because essentially a video is such a big component of that. If you're online and you're not doing video in some shape or form, then, you are missing out. There's a little caveat there. I don't think video is necessary for everybody. I mean, there are some industries where video is not as effective as some others, but certainly from a communication medium, there's nothing that really beats video. And especially like there's all sorts of cool things these days now, like live video. In terms of connecting with your audience, there's nothing better than live video. It's incredible. So in terms of, the way I look at it is that, what are you trying to achieve with your business? Right. And, you're trying to serve your customer, right? The only reason you're in business is because of your customer or your client. That's one of the basic tenets of business, right? There's no real, if it wasn't for your customers, you wouldn't be in business. So then if that becomes your central reason for being in business, then the next question is to ask, well, okay, if my clients or my customers are the number one reason I'm in business, what do I need to do to get clients and to keep clients? So, and then you say, well, first of all, I probably need to know who it is that I want to have as a client.
Right.
That's, your target audience. And then the next question is, well, how do I serve them? And what problems do they have? What problems can I solve for them? And that's how you figure out your solution. And the next question then is, okay, well, how do I tell them about it? How do I reach them? And so it's actually very simple, right? So,
right.
And the question is, okay, well, there's many different ways you can reach them. You can reach them through email. You can reach them through social media. You can reach them through paid advertising, through organic, content marketing, SEO. There's a million different ways of reaching them. And then you can say, okay, well, I'm just starting out, or even if I'm a well-established business, I still need to be clever with how I spend my money.
Right.
What is the best way for reaching my ideal clients and convincing them that they should do business with me? And I think, right at the top for me, at least, is video, video marketing and video content. And even if it's paid ads, it's using video for that purpose. Why? Well, because it connects so well. So,
right.
So your return on investment for how well you can build that audience and how well you can connect is just very, very high with video. And it's because of that engagement and connection. It's an authenticity that you can bring with video. It's really easy to get a ghostwriter to write a bit of copy for you.
That's right.
And then put your name on it. The reader will never know whether it was you that actually wrote that content. Whereas with video, if it's you doing the marketing or someone in your business, you can see those words and hear those words coming from their mouth, literally,
yep.
right? So,
yep.
so just by default, there's a lot of authenticity and trust already, which by default helps you better connect with your audience.
Now, I was just going to ask, is it true that social media platforms run on an algorithm that rank video at the very top of the type of content as far as reach? Like, is that true? Like Facebook
Well, I
sees
think
video.
it depends on the well, a couple of things. First of all, I think they don't publish what the algorithms do, right? So for everyone else outside those firms, it's really a guess or an educated guess based on their own testing. But really, as far as I know, they don't publish, Google, Facebook, LinkedIn, they don't publish their algorithms, right? So otherwise it'll be too easy to play the game, to game the system. So they don't publish it. So we don't know for sure. The second thing is that I think each platform is different and they change over time as well. So there's no blanket answer. So for a good example, a recent case is LinkedIn. When they brought in video a couple of years ago, there definitely seemed to be a preference for video content. And so what happened was you got all these people who they've never done video before, and they just sort of happened to be in the right place at the right time. And they managed to amass these huge audiences. And then they became these video marketing experts all of a sudden, just because they're able to speak in front of the camera and didn't have to do anything special to build that audience. LinkedIn, through their algorithm, helped them like crazy. Now, if you try and do that on LinkedIn, it's not as easy. They in fact seem to favor text posts more than video. I think image posts or those little slidey things, PDF uploads, they're also favored quite a lot. But again, you've got to do your own testing. So I think it's a good example. I mean, obviously, a place like YouTube.
Yep.
I mean,
yeah.
You can only do video there. So Google, I mean, if you do a Google search, it depends on the industry. Sometimes you see videos ranking fairly high up on the algorithm. Sometimes there's no video. So it could be a function of the industry. It could be a function of how many videos are getting published. Facebook is different again. Live video seems to be still getting a lot of attention. But there again, it depends if you're doing it on your own profile or on your own page or in a group. There's many different factors. But I will say this, independent of the algorithm, out of all the content that you can create, nothing connects better than video. Nothing connects better than video. And when you think about the long term and what it is you're trying to achieve with your clients, you're trying to connect with them. Why? So that you can build trust with them. Why? So that they can do business with you without any friction. Once you've got trust with an audience and you're helping, they understand and believe. The belief thing and trust, they're the same thing, right? They believe that you can help them, they will do business with you. And that's my charter to do with other mediums.
That makes perfect sense. Seems like as far as algorithms concerned, TikTok is helping some of these newbies out right now too. My 11-year-old daughter made some silly video and it's incredible. And I still won't get on there, but it's incredible how fast she built like thousands of followers. And I'm like questioning myself. I'm like, is my 11-year-old, a digital marketing expert now? Yeah. I'm like, no. It has to be. Yeah. So you're absolutely right. So can you share just really quick a couple?
Can I?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Can I say something about that? Because I've been asked about this a couple of times now this week. And this whole thing about, say, TikTok and same thing with LinkedIn, when video just came out and YouTube and any other platforms for that matter. There's some people that are saying, hey, you've got to jump on this now, before you miss the train, because now's the opportunity to build your audience.
That's right.
And yes, that's true. You like for the LinkedIn crowd, for example, you could do that. And now it's not as easy anymore. Maybe the same thing now for TikTok. However, I don't think you should just jump on it for the sake of building an audience. I think you should first ask, is your audience there? Is your audience going to be there? And make a strategic decision based on that. And the other thing is, I have never really seen a platform where it is too late to get started. Like an example, a friend of mine here on the Sunshine Coast, right? I did my video marketing thing, my YouTube fame thing way back in 2010, right? That's when I was at my peak for YouTube, right? I was the number one person. My video ranked number one for how to get more views on YouTube, for example, for about 3 years.
You were number one for
that? I was number one. There were not many experts around, but I was one of the leading guys. Perhaps in terms of audience size, I was number one. There's no one bigger in audience size on YouTube than my channel.
Wow!
Right. So I was like the big fish in a small pond back then. And around about 2010, I was thinking, this is getting too crowded. and it's saturated. This is 2010. I'm thinking this. And so I thought, I'm gonna go and start doing something else. I don't think there's a future here. Right. So I started the original version of Splasheo, and then later V-Roll, and now I'm back on Splasheo again. So that was like quite a few years ago, right? It's now 2020. This is 10 years ago. And in the meantime, that industry just took off. It just went bananas. And now every second person is a video marketing expert. And just a more recent case, a friend of mine, Justin Brown, he runs Primal Video. I'm not sure if you know him. You might do. He had his YouTube channel for a while, but they only really started actively about 2 years ago. It's like 2018 or something, right? It's not even that long ago. 8 years after I thought it was a peak. And now he's one of the leading guys in the video marketing space. He's just gone over 400,000 subscribers on his channel. Wow. And, it would have been easy for him to say, it's too late. YouTube's been around for, at that point, was it 13 years after YouTube started. He started getting onto it and building his profile. And now it's one of the leading authorities in the world. So I don't think this story of, if you don't do it now, it's going to be too late, blah, blah, blah. That's BS. I think when you're ready for it, do it, and
absolutely.
And it's got to suit you, and it's got to suit your audience, and you've got to attract the right people into your world.
Yeah. Can you expand on that for just a minute? So he started 2018. He's at about 400,000 subscribers. Like, if you had to pinpoint, and it could be a combination of things, but do you think it is consistency? It is really targeting on the right audience avatar and serving them, and just constant communication, identifying the problem? A combination of things? Like, what do you think was the thing that really blew his audience up so fast when there are so many digital marketers out there that are also producing content?
I think in his case, there's a platform specific reason why he became successful. I think they really studied and understand and, studied to understand the platform really well. So, it goes without saying that the content that they create is for a specific target audience. And it's also really good content. They provide real good value. They solve real problems. That goes without saying. It's like, I get sick of saying that, because it's sort of like it's assumed. If you don't do that, there's no room for you to play. You've got to have the right audience, and you've got to create the right content for them that provides value, that solves problems for them. It's like, it goes without saying. Now, beyond that, where they really won the game, or where they're really winning the game on YouTube specifically, is with search engine optimization, because YouTube's just a search engine. It's the second biggest search engine in the world after Google. So they really understand the nuts and bolts behind SEO for YouTube. And so every single video they create is specifically optimized for some keywords. And even though they've got 400,000 subscribers, I haven't looked at their stats recently, but I know from my own stats and from looking at other people's stats, if you look at the views they're getting on YouTube, the number of views they're getting from the actual subscribers is tiny. It's like, I think I haven't talked to JB about this for a while, but it'll be below 10%, I would say. Really? The rest of the views are all coming from suggested videos or, keyword related sort of views. And so the subscribers, that's great, but that's not where your views are coming from if you do it right on YouTube.
Man, that's crazy. So this brings me to what I'm really excited to talk about. And I'm going to tell you a quick story around it, which is Splasheo, your company that you are helping a lot of entrepreneurs. So I'm listening to you on a podcast maybe a couple of months ago on John Lee Dumas's podcast, Entrepreneurs on Fire. And he's talking about your company, Splasheo, and what you do. And I just thought it was so cool because, it's so true, right? Like making a video and chopping it up and turning them into like useful pieces of content. Like everybody has these videos. They just don't know how to repurpose them. It was probably 2 days after I listened to your interview that I read a statistic that made me have to reach out to you, which was, and I can't remember what the percentage was, so don't quote me on it, but it was like 80% of people that watch videos on social media do it with the sound off. And I was just 85. Like 85. I was like, no way. I'm like, oh my God, I've got to reach out to Gideon. I've got to get Splasheo in my life because I'm publishing all these videos and I have no subtitles. I have no captioning on there and I'm just losing so many people. And so I want you to talk about Splasheo. Like what do you do? How does it work? How can you take anybody out there who has any kind of content, turn it into like masterpieces that can help grow their audience. And I'm just excited to hear you talk about it.
Yeah, sure. I mean, here's the thing. The captioning of videos, I discovered that there are at least two major benefits when it comes to video marketing. Just as a backstory before I tell you those two benefits. So I've been at it now for 14 years, right? Back in the day, around about 2010, I remember running a survey to my audience, and I got, I think, 1,600 responses back, around about there. And one of the questions was, what's the biggest pain or frustration or problem that you have when it comes to video marketing? And the number one pain point or complaint that came back was the video production, the video editing side of video marketing. It was so painful and slow and tedious. They all just wanted to have a better solution. And so this bugged me for, a very long time. Well, say for 12 out of the 14 years, or 12 and a half out of the 14 years. And then I discovered captioning. I realized that obviously captioning is necessary because people are watching the videos in silent, but also captioning, there's a couple of other things. Firstly, the obvious one is that it helps massively with the engagement of your videos. So when there are captions in your videos, whether they're playing it with sound or no sound, adding the captions in helps your videos be more engaging. I mean, you can try this yourself. You can go and watch a video with captions on it and turn the sound on. See if you can not read the captions. You can't help yourself. So, and it helps you stay longer and watch longer and consume the content and remember the content a lot better. So it massively helps with engagement. And obviously, so when people are scrolling through their feed and the video starts auto-playing, there's no captions. People just keep on scrolling. Now, we do other fancy things like adding a headline as well and other cool things to make your video even more engaging. But those are the basics. But the other big benefit that solves the biggest problem when it comes to video marketing is the video production. So the main reason I would ever do editing for my videos, and I think that most people do social media videos. I'm not talking about Hollywood productions here. But the main reason people want to do video editing is to help make their videos more interesting, which means to help them be more engaging. I mean, you think about it, the sort of stuff you can do with jump cuts, with adding B-rolls, sound effects, visual effects. All of that stuff is designed to kind of reset the attention of the viewer and to create interrupts, whatever it is, open loops, whatever, to help engage the viewer and get them to watch longer. That's all little tricks. However, when you add captions to your videos, it takes care of all that automatically, which means you don't have to really edit your videos. I mean, you can still if you want to, but nowadays with the auto scrolling thing and with the autoplay thing on silent, if you get too fancy with your video editing, my view is that actually becomes a distraction because people want to read on the captions what your video is about before they actually watch it. And if you've got lots of action happening in your video there, they're not going to see what it's about within the captions. It's actually a distraction. So what I do now with my videos, I don't edit them anymore. I just push them through Splasheo. Okay, you could call that editing, but it's really just adding the captions to it and putting a nice frame around it with a good headline. So it's minimal editing, and I don't do it. We've got our team that take care of that. It removes, that massive pain point of video production because I can literally, this video that we're doing now, I'm recording on my side, right? So after this, I'll be able to chop up little valuable bits, push it through Splasheo, and that's it. There's no actual video editing other than cutting the valuable bits out and pushing it through Splasheo. So to create content for me now is so streamlined and painless. It's great. And then I get the added benefit of having my videos really engaging as well.
That's awesome. Now, one thing that I realized sets your company apart from a lot of other companies is that you actually have people doing it instead of software. Is that right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we there's 4 different people that look at every video that comes through our system. So first person does the transcription, second person does a review of that transcription because we're really big on that. We aim to get it 100%. And the biggest key for us is, because the engagement thing is to make sure that your captions are as readable as possible. And unfortunately, with the auto captions, they do a pretty good job, getting the words right. They can even put in punctuation and mostly the right places. But it's not always very readable. Sometimes they chop a sentence in half. Or, you might get a screen where there's the end of one sentence and the beginning of another one. It's like, or the thought has been cut in half. And it's like every time there's an occurrence like that, it breaks the attention of your viewer. So the way we create the captions is to make the captions as readable as possible to create a very, very smooth and engaging experience for our clients, which then helps their videos be more engaging as a result, that's the end game. You want to have it engaging so you can connect with the audience, so you can build trust so that you can sell your products, right? Eventually.
Absolutely.
So it all plays together.
Absolutely. So take me through this process really quickly, because I'm really interested, and I know that I especially know my audience will have the same question. So obviously I have a podcast, and right now we are doing a video interview. Let's just say it's 45 minutes long. And so all I would have to do is I would go back into that video, and any really cool quote or, 3 steps or 2 steps or any actionable takeaways that I think are valuable, I can just highlight those or cut them, forward them to Splasheo. And then what you'll do, or your team, is they'll take that video, they'll caption it, it'll be perfect. But then tell me a little bit about the frame. What do you mean by put a beautiful frame around it? So if I'm going to post a 1-minute video on Instagram, for instance, or Facebook, will it look different, or will it, oh, hey, we're looking at your screen here. This is perfect. So I'm publishing this on the YouTube channel, and I really, I understand it, but I want the audience to be able to really grasp their mind around what we're talking about here.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let me take you through the process. So first of all, this is what you see here is the insides of Splasheo when you become a client.
Okay.
And so before I go into details here, let me just say that there's 2 versions of Splasheo. There's this version, which I'll show you now, which is kind of like the self-serve version, where you can submit your own little snippets, your own videos using any of our templates here. Then we also have a premium version of the service where if you don't even want to do this bit, you just send us your podcast interview, like this one, for example. You send us the file, the hour-long interview. Or if it's just an audio, send us the audio. Or if you're doing Facebook Lives, you send us the recording of the Facebook Live. Or if you've got a presentation that you spoke on stage, just send us the whole thing. We'll then go through it and find the valuable snippets for you in that presentation. We have a copywriter, a professional copywriter that'll write really compelling headline to go with your video. And then we'll push it through the Splasheo system to get it transcribed and edited together. And we basically send you a folder back full of videos. The best we had so far was an hour-long video. I think we got 19 video snippets back from that. So you imagine you send us an hour-long video, we send you back 19, between 15 and 20, say, little video snippets already processed, already formatted, with your headline, with your captions, ready to publish on social media. You don't have to lift a finger. So that's the premium version. But let me show you the self-serve one if you've got the snippets yourself already.
Yeah, not to interrupt. So you mean the full service? I send the hour-long video, and your team will figure out which are the most valuable snippets in that video?
Absolutely, yeah. So,
oh, man. Really?
Yeah, if you're interested in that. So it works out a bit more expensive, but there's a lot more work that we've got to do. But if you are interested in that, if you go to splasheo.com and splasheo.com/premium. If you splasheo.com, let me just see, /premium, there it is. It's not a sales page, really. It's just a page to set up a call with either me or someone in the team. And it's just a little paragraph explaining that this is what we can do for you. And then we set up a call and just make sure that there's a good match and that we can actually help you. And we figure out what your needs are, how many you need, etc., whether you need your own templates. So yeah, that's that part of the service.
Man, that's awesome. And I'm taking a deep dive here. And here's why I'm doing it. Because I am by no means a genius in marketing or anything like that. I'm a traditional business owner. And so this is why this is so interesting to me. But I follow a lot of really great people, and I've had some incredible guests on this podcast. And what I've noticed is that 99% of even the influencers out there they're not great at repurposing their content. Like you have Grant Cardone and Gary Vaynerchuk and, like John Dumas, who is great at that. Like they're on the forefront of that, right? Like they're like, you see like Gary, he'll do his keynote speech and then you see bits and pieces of it everywhere all the time. So that he's caught on. But I have people on this show that are influencers and they have big companies, and it's like they're killing themselves creating so much new content all the time. Yeah. But they're not being effective. And so it's like what you're doing is just saving so much time and energy. Even traditional business owners, like my girlfriend's, she's in real estate, and her broker is one of the top brokers in the country in real estate. And she's always putting out great content, but none of it is repurposed. And I'm just like, I'm thinking of all the people that I know. I'm like, oh my God, there's so many people that do
so
Facebook.
much leverage.
Man, that's such a great idea. And so like, I fully understand what Splasheo does now and how it works. And so like, just to, it's, and you have that like aha moment, you're like, because, at first I thought it was captioning with a great headline, but I didn't fully understand the scope of it and the value of like how this can be used in many different ways. So
absolutely.
One of the other things that I wanted to have you share with everybody is because I know one of the biggest things with even creating video content in the first place, even if it's a minute, let alone repurpose it, is what do I say? What do I talk about? How do I serve my audience? You mentioned something on the podcast that I listened to you on. It was like, there's these 3 hacks, and I just wanted to have you talk about those because they were really good. And I think it would really, really add value if you remember them from that interview.
Oh gosh, I'll try my best, but in terms of knowing what to say, oftentimes that presents a bit of a problem for people, right? Because normally quite often when you look at videos on LinkedIn or YouTube, whatever, it's normally like say a 3 to 5 minute sort of video. YouTube is getting a bit longer now,
right?
But it's normally not an interview style video. Like it's normally someone who did a bit of preparation. Maybe they even had a script or they had some bullet points, but then they turn on the camera, speak into the camera, do the thing, and then turn it off and then do the editing afterwards, etc. Right? Now that can be quite overwhelming for a lot of people, especially if you've never done it before. And it can also be difficult for people to get started with because, there's something like camera presence that you learn as you go.
Right.
And
right.
A lot of people who, even myself, when I started, you have this deer in headlight effect when you have to stand in front of a camera and talk to the camera. So a much easier way to get into it is to do exactly what me and you are doing right now. We've got a chat on Zoom. It's getting recorded. After this recording, we'll have like a whole hour long worth of content.
Right.
That we can then repurpose, and we didn't even have to think about it, right? We're just having a chat. We're just talking about things. We're talking about problems and issues and challenges, and we're solving them at the same time. So we're creating content as we go. I mean, it's so simple. It's really if you're going to have a conversation with someone, you're qualified to do this, right? And then once you've got the recording, you've got 2 choices. You can either chop it up yourself, to find the valuable bits, which it's quite time consuming. But if you're on a budget, you can obviously do it yourself. And then use our front end part of the service, the self-serve one. And you just submit the actual little clips to the service, and you can see, or you can change stuff around as well, make it look any way you want. Just pop your video in and hit submit, and whatever you submit there, that's what we'll process for you. If you've got some funding around available and you value your time, just send us, have a chat with me or someone in our team, and you end up just sending us that link, the Zoom link. Literally, you can send us the Zoom recording, and we'll go through it for you and find you the bits to process, do the whole lot for you, and send you back a folder with everything. So that's a really, really easy way to do it.
Absolutely.
A couple of other ways to do it is to go back and look at what you already have in your hard drive. Maybe you've got a recording from when you spoke on stage, or maybe you've done a webinar that you've got a recording of. Same thing. Send us the file or chop it up yourself, and voila, you've got content. Another really easy one these days is a lot of people are doing Facebook Lives. One of our clients, Russ Ruffino from Clients on Demand, that's exactly what they do. They have a weekly live show on Facebook, right? And then they just send us those recordings every week. We chop them up for them, and process it into nice, short 1 to 3 minute long videos with a headline and the captions burnt in and everything ready to rock. And then they use those to publish it on social media, like on Instagram, on LinkedIn, wherever they're publishing stuff on Facebook. And so it's a really nice and leveraged way of doing it.
Yeah, that's really cool. And just to add one thing onto that, I had a guest on maybe a couple months ago that also gave some great advice too. He was, because I asked him the same question. He has a huge following, like I think a few million followers. And I asked him, I was like, how did you get started creating content? And he was, how did you know what to say? He's like, man, I didn't. He's like, I just followed a process. And I think he learned it from like Brendan Burchard. He called it ILT, which was invest, learn, teach. So he'd buy a magazine or a book, or he'll watch something and he'll learn like in his niche, and he'll learn it. He'll take notes, and then he'll just teach his audience that exact thing. And then that just started building his credibility and his voice over time. I thought it was really cool, and that's how he grew it. But man, that's so valuable. So before we wrap up, because this has been such a great interview, what would be your one big takeaway that you'd like to leave the audience with when it comes to just video in general and putting out content?
One idea I'd like to leave you with is to keep it super simple. KISS, right? Keep it super simple.
That's right.
And what that means is the way to keep it super simple with video production and video marketing is to see how many complications you can remove from the process. Simple as that. So some complications are bottlenecks, right? So one obvious bottleneck is the production, right? So, okay, camera gear, lights, microphones, all this sort of stuff. Don't get held up on it. Like use your iPhone. Use a simple, you can just use them. If you're close enough to your iPhone or your phone, microphone on it is good enough. If you're outside and you're a bit further away, then you might need an external mic. Use natural lighting. Make sure you got good lighting. Make sure you got a simple background. You can, or do these sort of interviews with a good webcam. It's not complicated. It's not expensive to set up a Zoom call. Zoom is free. You can get a good webcam for like $100. You can get a little microphone like this. It's not even a super professional microphone. This is just like an Audio Technica mic.
Same one I've got.
This is the 80-200 2005 USB. Wonderful. It's like $100. Seriously, this performs better than my expensive Rode mic that I had. And that's why I'm using it, because of the sound quality, not because it's cheap. But anyway, that's just the point I'm making. It doesn't have to be fancy or expensive. So that's a barrier that people get stuck with. Another one is then the video production, like the editing. Like I said before, don't worry about it. Just flick it through Splasheo or a similar service or something. So you don't have to worry about editing anymore, So it's just literally sending the raw file and getting someone else to take care of it for you, getting it, into the right format, getting the captions burnt in, and you're ready to rock for social media. And then probably one that's not talked about as much is yourself, removing yourself as the barrier. And I think one of the strategies we talked about is when you get interviewed like that, you relax and you forget about yourself and you provide value without even knowing. That's a really, really good way for getting started with creating video. Like just setting up a Zoom call like this or on Skype or whatever, and just chatting to your buddy. It doesn't even have to be a proper official interview with someone you don't even know. It can be with your friend, or it can be with your spouse, or with one of your kids, whatever, and record the thing and get ready to go. And just keep it really, really simple and just build on that. Just keep on building.
Awesome. 2 quick questions. One is, because I want the audience not to get the wrong idea here and thinking that the only time that they should be doing what we're talking about is if they're an influencer, a digital marketer. Like, I feel like what you do could be extremely valuable for a lot of traditional business owners. Can you give a few examples of maybe some companies or people that you've worked with that are not digital marketers or Instagram influencers, like just a few of your clients?
Yeah, I mean, we have, I haven't done the maths, but there's it's perhaps the majority of our clients who are not internet marketers or big influencers necessarily. I mean, there's someone like Tim Sanders who comes to mind. He's been with us right from the beginning. He's a well-known speaker in the leadership space.
Right.
And, he started using our service. And then a few videos down the track, his video went viral on LinkedIn, of all places. He got 1.4 million views on it, like over 1,000 comments. And it was a repurposed clip from one of his talks from way back. And this thing just went crazy. We have people in real estate, we have lawyers, we have accountants, we have a lot of financial advisors. Interesting enough, they love it. I think any kind of industry where, service-based industries where it's important to have that face-to-face or visual or verbal communication. That's the thing, you don't have to use this necessarily for building massive audience and massive influence. You can just use this for communicating properly with your audience. And with your clients, like you could create a video like this and just send just for one person and send it to them, and say, hey, look, I created this for you, and they'll appreciate that it's been captioned. Depends a bit on your audience, obviously, but all industries. I think any industry where it's important for you to engage your viewer
which is pretty much everybody in every industry.
Right.
You should always, absolutely. So how can people connect with you, Gideon? I mean, obviously, Splasheo.com, we'll put that in the show notes. If anybody has a question for you or your team, is there any way that people can follow you, connect with you, see what you're working on, see what you're up to, and even more examples?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So Splasheo, it's like video, right? Splasheo, just splash with EO at the end.com. A lot of people type, one of our biggest searches are splash and then IO, Splasheo, you know. So that's Splasheo, like video. Splasheo.com. If you want to see there, if you're interested in the premium service, it's splasheo.com/premium, and happy to chat to you there. If you want to just connect with me and let me know that you listened to this interview, just head on over to LinkedIn and send me a connection request, and just mention that you heard from me in this interview, and more than happy to connect with you and have a chat.
Awesome. Well, Gideon, it's been an absolute pleasure. I want to just thank you for your time and adding so much value in the last 50 minutes. And hopefully I'll have the opportunity to have you on again sometime soon, man. But thank you so much for being on this interview.
You're very welcome. It was great fun. Thank you so much, John.
Absolutely. All right, guys. I hope you enjoyed that episode and learned a lot like I did. I know I'll be using way more video moving forward in my business. And, it's really cool to have guests on my podcast that actually teach me a lot of things as well. I feel like every episode that I record, I even learn something new, and I've used a lot of their services and businesses, and I've made some great relationships. So it's just, I want you guys all to know that sometimes I learn just as much as you when you're listening to this as like when I'm interviewing them. So it's really crazy. Now, guys, if you are interested in following Gideon or checking out what Splasheo might be able to do for you, just head on over to Splasheo.com, take a look. He's got some really great promotions going on right now. But again, just head over to Splasheo.com. Gideon's an awesome guy, and he does great things with his business. Well, everyone, it has been fun. Like I said earlier, I hope all of you are just staying positive and strong through some of these trying times. And I wanted to go ahead and give you a heads up because next week's episode is going to be really, really, really awesome. I have an incredible guest, and she is going to talk about credit hacking. Now, you may not know what that is, but if you don't have a perfect credit score, or you don't know what business credit is, and you want to know some of the really cool hacks, things that you can do, places that you can go, you are going to love this episode. Unfortunately, the way things work in the United States right now, credit is actually really important when it comes to a lot of things. Businesses, getting loans, buying a home, a car, getting credit card, being able to do a lot of things. And so it's really, really important to know everything you can about how to hack credit so that you're not wasting a ton of time and spending your